Well, the case studies that I want to cover today are going to be everything from those quick surveys where there's no prep time involved at all the way to the more advanced stuff that has what they call the space race, where it's a little competitive between kids. Sometimes it's teacher-paced, sometimes it's student-paced. So there's a lot of different options within Socrative, and I'll cover all those here today as well. All right, so scrolling down now. Now that we took care of our introductions, I am recording, as I mentioned, using Camtasia, so this video most likely will be available afterwards on my blog. Speaking of that, if you haven't done so yet, robsthetrainer.com, upper right-hand corner is subscribe by email. If you put in your email address there, anytime I put a new post up, it will send you an email within a 24-hour time frame. So that's been a great way to just get people to know when the new stuff is available, like this recorded presentation and other stuff I put. So if you'd like to do that, no charge at all, just subscribe through email. I don't use advertising or anything like that, so there's no spam or multiple emails that you would receive. All right, back to our outline. We have our general overview to start out. This is what I call that high-level overview. Version 2.0 came out not too long ago, and the company itself has made a YouTube channel, which I thought was worth looking at. They have, of their videos posted here in the link I've given you, there's about 15 or so different videos that do go over individually the things I'm going to cover in a whole big group today. So if you wanted to check those out as well, I think that's a very good resource to look at too. I was looking at these over eating lunch a couple days ago, and I thought it was worth sharing with you guys, so feel free to check out that link as well. The overview of features. This is more so if you're really not sure what it is. It's an instant feedback tool. The results populate up on the big screen so the teachers can see it. In my classroom, I have my laptops connected to the projector like it is here so I can show it. But if the teacher just wants to get feedback and not show it to all the students in the audience, just simply turn the projector off, and then you can look here on your own screen and kind of monitor the progress on how people are doing. So you have that flexibility, whether you reveal everything to the class. Sometimes kids want to know how everyone in the class is doing, and sometimes it's not good to do that because it's more of a private response thing. Personalized content. You can design and edit your own quizzes. You can also share quizzes. You'll see in my outline today I have some numbers, SOC numbers. It's like a serial number to what we're going to take. So if you like my intro quiz today, or if you like my digital citizenship, a math quiz, whatever, you can grab a copy of it by just putting in those numbers in your account, and it'll give you instantly all of my questions. It won't mess around with mine because mine still stays as a separate copy, but that way it's a way to share quizzes among teachers. And that, I guess, has been a very popular thing with the company as they've been growing. Reports are very nice because they can be seen on screen. You can also download them afterwards, and as the screenshot is showing you here, you can see the columns are by questions. You can instantly scan down a column and see how kids are doing on that. And red is wrong, green is correct. You can go horizontally across the rows and see how students are progressing. And then you get their scores on the side, individual itemized question scores at the bottom. So it really is a screen that gives you a lot of data all as one snapshot. And we talked earlier, compatibility across all these different devices and brands. It really doesn't matter anymore what you have. It works nicely across all of them. And what I'm going to be using today, I'll participate as a student as well as you guys out there. I'm going to use this iPad mini, and I am going to use the app that's installed. It's the Socrative app, but you don't have to use the app. You can simply just go to Socrative.com and log in a browser. That's what I did in this tab right here. So I'm logged in as my teacher account in the browser. But I do want to show you, if you have iPads or iOS devices or Android devices, it is nice. Socrative, let's see, gotta spell it right. Socrative iTunes, just to show you what the icon looks like in the App Store. For a student, it looks like that. They've redesigned the app so it looks a little bit different. And basically, the app doesn't do anything special. It's just a quick shortcut that takes you into a web page. So you're really not getting any benefit by doing this versus the browser. But I find that with my students, to get them up and running, they're so used to the world of apps, they'll just flick through and there it is and launch it, instead of pull up Safari, type it in at the top, oops, someone spelled it wrong. You know, it gets around all those kind of issues that way. So that's what the icon looks like. All right, we're done with that. We'll close that. And so the let's see, devices. Okay, preferred browser is Chrome on any device that you have, except on iOS. And you could probably imagine that was maybe an Apple thing. I found that when I'm using Safari on my Apple devices, everything just works the way it's supposed to. But my preference, like I'm doing here on this MacBook, is using Chrome, the browser. And there is Chrome apps available for your mobile devices, but sometimes the keyboard doesn't work. I don't know if it's a bug that they just haven't fixed yet, but if the kids are using that, I would definitely have them use Safari, but everything else can use Chrome. There is a difference between teacher paste versus student paste. If that term doesn't make sense right now, you'll see it when I come do the demonstration side by side. But teacher paste just means basically I want to be in charge of our learning today, so I'm going to release to you one question at a time. Maybe as a presenter in an auditorium, we've seen that before too with some of our staff development days. They, every 10 minutes throw out a question. So the pace is being controlled by the teacher or the presenter. The other way of doing it is where you hit a button and you say go, and now every student on the screen has the quiz and they progress through it at their own pace. Some kids will finish in a couple minutes, some will be there in 10 minutes still going, but you just let it be student paced. So you have to decide right off the bat which way you want to build your quiz, which kind of event is it going to be. An event like today, teacher paced is good because then I can take you guys through it piece by piece and we can have conversations around each question. But if it was maybe a summary quiz at the end and I wanted to give you the full period to do it, I'd hit the button, everyone would take it, and I would kind of watch my screen as the results come in. So it depends on what your objectives are. And then on the fly versus prepared questions. On the fly, basically on your screen you'd see choices A, B, C, D, E, and that's it. And I would have to say out loud, okay, so choice A is tungsten, and 3 is lead, and 4 is another element, hydrogen. And I'd have to say that. The beauty of that is there's no prep time in advance. I could just write it on my chalkboard or whiteboard. But the advantage of doing it the other way, which is prepared, is I could have everything laid out there for you. So on your screen pops up the multiple choice with the questions and answers right on the screen. I'm more of a fan of doing it in advance, preparing, but I do want you to be aware that you can do it on the fly if spur of the moment you feel, hey, it might be a good time to quantify things by just doing a on the fly mode. So we're going to start out with our intro quiz. I'm going to make this teacher paced. So we got to get all of you guys as students inside of Socrative. And here's how I'll do it this way. You're looking now at my iPad mini here. I think I'm going to have to shrink it because I'm going to have more than one thing on the screen here. So I'm going to put it over here in the corner. And I've installed the app. There it is right there. But if you didn't install the app, you can go ahead now to your browser of choice. If you're on an Apple device, I would recommend Safari. And Socrative.com. And you'll be presented with an option that says login. And either it says I'm a teacher or I'm a student. I want all of you guys out there to be students today, just so you see it from the student point of view. So I will do that as well. And the room number that you need, all you have to give out is the room number. For me, it's ROBZ. It's Rob Z. So just type in ROBZ. Join room. Yep. This is the point where we need to make sure everybody is able to get in there. And when you're in the room, it looks like they're given a little timely message here related to Thanksgiving. But you'll see a screen that looks like this, which basically means you're in the room and you're waiting for the teacher to push something out to you. So I'll give a couple moments here, see if everyone can get themselves into that room. In the meantime, I'm going to do a side-by-side here. Yeah, that's true. Because we're reliant upon the Wi-Fi, if the Wi-Fi is not that reliable here, if you have a phone and you have your own data plan, you're probably going to find that's a little more reliable because that's not being shared in the same way. Not yet. I know it's available there, but I haven't used it there. I think all it is just a link to the web page. I don't think there's any special functionality when you're using it in the Chrome store on the Chromebook. Because really, no matter what the app is, it's just a shortcut to a web page. So I can tell that there are 5 people in the room right now. And I'm going to get my laser pointer so I can highlight some stuff here. That's right. All right. As you can see upper left-hand corner, on this left side, here's my teacher view. I can tell now there's 4 people that are in the virtual room. Now there's 3, so it's going down. So that could be, yep. And what I usually do is I count around the room, see how many people are there, and then I say, okay, well, I won't really start until I see about that number. It's hard to say, though, because maybe one person has 2 devices on, and somebody else in the room has nothing on. So you have to, maybe ask the kids, raise your hand, who's got it, kind of thing. So at this point, let's do that. Raise your hand if you are in the room, so I know who's in. Okay. Yep, that number's going up, so it looks like we're just about there. That's okay. This is the part where you do it for the first time with kids and it takes a little bit of time, but then the second and third and fourth time afterwards, they know, okay, that room is up, and then there's the room number, and they know where to go, and they log it in, and it's not, it's kind of my opening procedures type of thing. When that's on the screen, the kids know that we're doing an activity, and they get themselves right into it in a matter of minutes. Are you into it? Are you on the Wi-Fi? Is that why? Yeah, Verizon LTE was looking pretty strong before. Well, in a room like this, there is a lot of concrete. Oh. Yeah, in a room like this, there's a lot of concrete, so we might be dealing with that if you're on your data plan. But no, everybody in this room is going to be a student. Yeah. For now, I'll be the teacher account on the left side there, so you can see what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to proceed forward. If you're not in yet, it doesn't matter. You'll join in at the moment you join in. It's not like it won't deny you access. You'll be able to get in. So looking up here, I'll point out on the teacher interface what we're looking at. Left-hand side shows us how many current users are in the room. Room number is always displayed at the top so kids can see it as they walk in the room if somebody walked in the middle of it. And on the menu side of things, I'll show you what's included in there. You will see I can have the ability to clear the room, which is helpful if, let's say, first period just ended and second period's coming in. If I clear the room right at the end of first period, I know for sure that all those students are now out and their results won't be counted in the next group that comes in. So clearing the room can sometimes be handy when you have back-to-back classes. My profile is an area where the teacher will set up with pertinent information about their name, password, room name, and that's a nice thing too. You can customize your room name if it's available still. And then zip code just for documenting purposes of where you're coming from. At this point, I don't think there's any paid upgrades for Socrative that they would try to sell you on, but they are looking to see where zip code in school, I guess just for logistical purposes to know where the users are. So that's all included there. And then, of course, is log out, logs you out. So those are the options under the menu. Dashboard will always take you back to this page right here. This is kind of like the main home base where all of your paths to go down are going to be located. We have no activity going on right now, that's why it says that. And then refresh. Sometimes if you need to refresh, I always recommend refreshing there instead of refreshing up there in the browser, because this might actually be more helpful in terms of this app that we are running in the cloud, if you will. So I'm going to start a quiz for us. It's going to be my intro quiz. I've made this in advance already, so the questions are already typed in. I'll hit Start Quiz. And the one I want is going to be a recent one, because I was just playing around with it. It is my, right there, intro quiz for NYSCATE. I made it as descriptive as possible, so I picked the right one. So now I have to choose what type of quiz am I starting. Student-paced, where you guys would get immediate feedback, but you'd be able to go simultaneously and work on it at your own pace. Student-paced again, but this time student navigation, meaning you have the ability to go forwards and backwards, which I think is helpful. I always like to allow kids to do that. Or teacher-paced. And in this case, I'm going to do teacher-paced where I control the flow. I'll send them out to you one at a time, and then we can have conversations around each if needed. Additional settings, you have options. Disable student names. If you notice, when you went into, when you went in the room, did it ask for your name? Okay, so we didn't get there yet. Once I launch this, the first thing popping on your screen is going to be give me your name. It's going to say that. If I don't want that for whatever reason, I could have that off, which the way it's positioned right now, it is going to ask you for your names. Randomized answer order, that would be the A, B, C, D, E choices. And also, if someone's looking on someone's screen next door and they think it's B and they, I'll put B also, it randomizes. So if that is necessary, you can do that. And then disable student feedback. I have that on because that means, that means once you vote or put in your response, you're not going to know what the right answer is until I reveal it. It's like the big reveal. But if I want you to find out the answer at the moment you answer it, I could switch that over and you will get feedback right on the spot. So again, these are options that you have to decide what is your objectives here when you run it. So we start it, and at this point it should ask you, like it did there, enter your name. So go ahead and put in first name, and you can do last name too. My kids at this point say, do I do first name first, last name first? And I just say whatever you want. As long as I can see your name and I know who you are, then go for it. Some kids only put in first name. That's okay if there's only one Grace in the class, but that's a name. I probably have 3 Graces in the class now, so you can just kind of figure out if you want to go first, last name. When you hit done, it will then present to you the very first question. So on the student side of things, go ahead and answer that multiple choice question. And then you will have to hit the submit answer.
Not attended over 10 times.
Yeah, not presented, but attended.
10 times?
Yeah, since probably 2005. Actually, yeah, no, 2005 would be 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that was well, I had to give, I bet you, I wanted to spread out the answers, and probably most people are under 10. So as the results are coming in, notice here now on the left hand, this is, again, the teacher side. I got my question. I noticed, okay, that's the image. I put that image in there on purpose to help remind me of what it was. And 8 out of 8 have answered. So I will reveal it now. We're here under how did we do. I'll reveal that once I have everybody's responses. So therefore, we have about, it tells you percentages here. So half of the room has been here. This is their first time here. And of course, you can visualize and explain this. And notice that just jumped up because somebody probably jumped on. So it'll adapt as people come into the room and do that as time goes on.
Now, question for you here. If you still have like 8 out of 9 people who submitted, can you reveal who has not submitted yet?
No, I wouldn't. And at that point, I look around the room and I say, okay, who's still got their device in their hands? I do what's called glass down. I tell my kids, once you're done answering, you got to do that, glass down. So I can look around on the tables and I can see who's done answering. So that's my solution to that. Because there's inevitably a kid that's going to wait till the end to see, what do most people think before I answer, kind of thing. So kids gamify the system no matter what level or where you're teaching. So just things to keep in mind. So question number 1 is done. I now hit the next button, and popping on your screen is the next question. And it is pretty instantaneous too. So go ahead and answer that. And the results are coming in. We're about halfway there. Almost there. 2 more people. And the show explanation, by the way, is optional. That's what I'm having come up after you've responded. I think you're seeing that, right? Are you guys seeing that afterwards?
What?
The little where it says, thanks for your response. Or I did turn that off. Yeah, that's right. Because I turned that off, you're not seeing that. Yeah, that's different then. Yeah. Yep. So now that we are just about there, you could at this point say, okay, who's that one person? I'm going to wait for you to do it, but in a room like this, I don't have to do that. So here's how we did. And you can see, oh, I must have, you know what? This is a good point. I must have put one of them had a right answer. This is the chance where nothing should be right or wrong. It's an opinion-based question, but what I must have done is checked a box in here, or some boxes. That's why it's red and green. That'll make more sense in a little bit when we talk about some more objective stuff, that there is a right or wrong answer. But we have our, looks like 3/4 of the room, teacher, coach, administrator, no IT people, no vendors in the room, and nobody under the famous other category. So now we move on to question number 3. And I wanted to show you how you can embed pictures in here. So this one's going to come up on your screen with a picture. This is a big picture, so it might actually take a while. Yeah, in mine it's taken a while to load up there. And it's going to show you a Rochester landmark. And you can take a guess on what you think it is. It looks like we're almost all there. All right, majority has answered. Let's see how we did. And there we go. Most people in the room have received the right answer for that. Some wise guy in the room, or wise girl, said Eiffel Tower. I don't know who that would be. And then somebody said Golden Gate Bridge. So one of the neat things I do too, just to make it more competitive between the 10 classes I teach, is I keep a random or a running number on the board of points. And when the class achieves, what you'll see at the end, it'll tally up the percentages of what everybody has right. I add up all the percentages across, and I treat those as points, and I give that point value to the class. Now at the end of the 10-week rotation, the class with the most points wins a pizza party or a donut party or something like that. So just to keep the interest level high, because sometimes I don't grade these things and I still want the kids to give their efforts out there, I'll dangle a little carrot and do something like that, where it'll increase your class score when everybody tries their hardest to answer it. So just a little trick I've been doing the past couple of semesters. Next one up now is, I did this one on purpose because I want you to see that it's a open-ended question where you get to type in a word or an abbreviation, and it will grade it for you automatically, even though it's an open-ended response.
It doesn't tell you the feedback right away.
And I remember I have turned feedback turned off, so it's not going to give you feedback. But up here, notice it's showing that people are responding. I can do this. I could say, show me the names. These are the people that have responded so far. And once I hit show answers, we'll see how everybody responded. All right, so most are in. I'll hit show answers. So this is what people have put in. If you put in the word Pennsylvania and spelled it correctly, and put in PA, either one of those is going to be marked as correct. Because when I made this question, I said in there, if someone types in the word or the abbreviation, it is correct. So there could be a chance there if some student especially types in Pennsylvania and spells it wrong, they're going to get it wrong because I spelled it wrong. But I just wanted to show you the power of having open-ended questions, which are the hardest ones. You still can have them auto-graded if you choose, which really works good for like math equations. So it's, typing in the numbers, a squared plus b squared is c squared, that kind of thing. If they have to type in 15 and then type in 1-5 or FIFTEEN, you can mark those two things to be marked correct. So it really does a great job with that. But you have to kind of think ahead of how kids might spell it or even misspell words. Are you? Oh, you're stuck there. Refresh the page, and it may come back. It may or it may not. Now it came back. Okay. Well, because I just moved on. If the teacher moves on, you won't be able to see that. Yes. So here's our next one, again showing you can embed pictures. This is a multiple choice, but I could have made it a true-false. I made it a true multiple choice there. I'm going to go through that today. I want to show you how to make questions. You can type in all the responses that you would mark as correct. Case doesn't matter. It could be upper or lower. It is not going to matter. So we have just about everybody answered. Let's see how we did on this one. Very good. Most people got it right, 75%. And you get the idea. Now to our next question. This is our final question. Rate your experience with using Socrative. This is just to get a temperature check and see where everybody falls with that. And it looks like everybody's just about in. We'll reveal. And there's our breakdown of the room. So we got a good mix of people in the room from all over the different spectrum there. Majority of people are saying though that they've never used it. And then we got some other results there too with the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. All right, so now watch this. I'm going to say finish. And I, the teacher side of things, now get to do some things here. How would I like to get my reports? I could have them email it to me as a spreadsheet attached. I could download it to my hard drive right now. Google Drive is not turned on because I don't think I'm logged in with my credentials there, but if I was, it would drop it right in there. View a chart of it or view it later. I'm going to see the view chart because that's a new one I don't remember seeing before. Yeah, this is kind of nice to see it this way. Let me go full screen now. I believe if you had your credentials in Google, it would do that. But what I typically do is I grab it from my email attachment, and since I'm in Gmail already, I just hit open, and it pulls it into Google Slides automatically, instead of trying to open it with Microsoft Excel. But here's the nice view where we can see, you could see your name across the row to see how everybody did. Up and down, we could see question-wise, like it looks like this was a good one. Everybody was able to answer number 4. And then you can see individual responses that way. So it's kind of nice how that works. And you can see Elaine was blocked out there, so her responses just are not simply counted when you do that. Yeah, that's right. The percentages here are only grading the things that are in blue, which would be, no, you know what? It's probably grading these too. Yeah. So why is it a 0? Oh, because you got that one wrong, right? And then you didn't have an opportunity to get those 2 right. So yeah, I guess that would make sense. So it is taking all of them across the row there. All right, now if I needed that, let's say later on down the road, I can always come back by going to, let me think here, Manage Quizzes, and then Reports, and it will show me, there it is, the activity for that. So it saves automatically if you, because in the spur of the moment we're teaching and we like click the wrong button, that's okay. It saves it for you automatically if you don't make that choice at the very end there. So it really is, they've improved it. This used to be not tabs across the top, so there's even more features here than before. So I'm going to take us back now to the dashboard and take us back to our outline. And I mentioned earlier the codes I'll show you how to grab these codes later, but just so you know, that's a code that takes you to that quiz. So if you want to grab that quiz and use it, all you need to do is plug that in on your account. I might as well show you now, which is located under Manage Quizzes and Import Quiz. And you would paste in that SOC number right there, hit import, and then you instantly have a copy of it. So there are teachers across buildings and across districts that will keep a spreadsheet running of like quizzes they've made, and they just throw in the SOC number so other teachers can grab onto it as well. Works kind of nice for collaboration that way. All right, so where we're going next. I have, not to look at right now, of course, but if you're interested and want to dig a little bit deeper, I've taught similar workshops like this with Socrative at Canisius in July, ISTE, and FETC. So these are versions of what I'm recording right now, actually. I'll be able to add this one to the list, ones you can watch on YouTube right from my blog there. So now let's get into the teacher sign-up procedure. By a show of hands, how many of you have a teacher Socrative account? The few that mentioned maybe earlier. Okay, so if you don't have one, you don't have to sign up for it now because we're not necessarily going to have you make quizzes. But just so you know how to do it, the sign-up procedure is simply on Socrative.com. On the main page here, they have teacher get free account. There it is. You go to get free account, and the kind of stuff it's going to ask you is the following: name, email, put it in twice, password, your organization, your role, and if you want to read the terms, click on the link, and that's how you create your account. So it really doesn't take too long. Nobody has to approve it. It's one of those things that you just create, and then you're ready to build your quizzes. And you can name your room, just like I did. I was able to get Rob Z. was not taken. Most of the time it gives you random letters and numbers, but I'd like to put in the teacher's name if you can, if it's not taken yet. So that's the sign-up procedure. Now, both teachers and students begin at Socrative.com, just like many of you did moments ago, because on that page, that's the quickest way to get someone in as a teacher or as a student. So we always re-emphasize you don't need to put any forward slashes after that. You can just go directly to Socrative.com. So of our two presentation modes, we can talk about the on-the-fly first, and then we'll go to the pre-prepared quiz mode. The advantages of on-the-fly is there's no prep needed. Disadvantage, though, is these are just single questions and there's no automatic grading. So it's really for spur-of-the-moment formative assessment where you're not going to look at the results afterwards. You just want to get a temperature gauge on where the class is on your content. So I'm going to do a multiple choice example with you guys. Let's pretend we're in a typical classroom right now with a old-fashioned chalkboard. I should have a slide of this here. I think it's the second one. So imagine this was my chalkboard in the room right now, and you saw this up there. And these are the responses to it. So what I want to do now on the teacher side of things, and I'm going to have to switch between tabs here, so bear with me. I'm going to start a quiz. Oh, no, wrong way, I didn't do that right. Go back here. Quick question, that's what I wanted. Quick question, I got to decide what do I want. I want a multiple choice. And on your screens right now is A, B, C, D, E. So up on my chalkboard is that. So of course, you have to look up there to see, okay, what year am I going to pick? Make your choice and submit. And I'm going to switch back over so I can see the teacher side. Oh, maybe I shouldn't yet. Still give that to you guys. I picked this here because we were in San Antonio doing this workshop. So this was the version of the Rochester Museum of Play that I picked for that location. And do we have halfway in? Maybe some people are Googling it, that's fine. But as you can see, most people are saying, at this point, A. And this too will influence students, by the way, too, because you're out there maybe not answering it, and you're thinking, well, I'm going to wait a few seconds here and see what most people answer. And it looks like most people are saying A, okay, so I will say A also. And that could be dangerous, of course, because that may or may not be the right answer. And I think it's not the right answer. It's either B or C. Did anybody Google it and find out? It's B, yeah. I did 36 and 63, that's right. So it's B. B is the right answer. And see, I didn't have to prepare anything in Socrative in advance. I just hit quick question, multiple choice, and that's all I had to do. But I had to accompany that along with this that would exist in the room somewhere. So that's an example of a quick on-the-fly question like that. And it tells you right up there that it's in progress. So it looks like not everybody answered. If I end it, though, finish, you won't have the ability now, because your screen goes back to the main page, to answer. So just keep that in mind, too, that you might cut people out. But again, it's not keeping track of who answered how, so it might not matter. It might be a moot point anyways. So my next piece is the multiple choice, the true-false example. All right, so I'm going to say a statement. And I'm going to have you guys respond with true or false. So this time I'll pick that, and I'll say, The capital of New York State is Binghamton. And instantly the results come in. And there you go. Most people got that one right. So these are quick ones on the fly. If I want to do another one, just hit true, false again. Start another one, yes. And I say, the capital of Texas is San Antonio. And it looks like, survey says, most people are doing false. What is the capital of Texas? Anybody know? I saw somebody said Austin, right? I think that's it, right? Yeah. So this is an easy way to just throw another one out there. You just by clicking on it, multiple choice, send it out. And it's a way to just keep going through questions that you have right on the bat. So some teachers I know use this for quiz review. They'll actually, the day before a quiz, they might say out loud some of the more basic facts, kind of low-level blooms, if you will, and then they'll just keep going through, see how students answer, have a conversation, and move on to the next one. So that way they don't have to spend time typing in questions in Socrative. So now that you've seen that there, the short answer, I like this one because there's a voting option. So there is a reason why I wanted to show you this one. Let's go to short answer, and I'm going to say, let's see, question. I don't have to put in the question. I'm going to let you guys respond once, and I'm going to leave it anonymous. I'll start a new activity. All right, so the question coming to you now, let's see, my screen's not refreshing now. There we go. What's your favorite app or website? Just put in one word there. Don't give me a list of things, just your favorite app. For personal, for productivity, school, home, doesn't matter. Favorite app or website. Now, because I allowed it to be anonymous, we truly don't know who responded how. Sometimes that's a good thing in a classroom, so kids aren't feeling intimidated that, haha, he likes Facebook or anything like that. So I left it like that. And what I like about this now is we can turn this into a votable list. So because I had you type in just one word here, let's say now you have to vote on one of these, but you can't vote on your own. Something else that you like here, but don't vote on your own. Because I'm going to go here to start vote, and it comes back to you now. Be later. It should come back to you now as a list that you can vote on. So pick one that's not your own. And we'll see how they get ranked. This, I think, is great for brainstorming. You could even ask the kids, like, what should be a question on Friday's quiz? So they put a question out there. Now, let's vote on it. And so look at that. That's kind of neat. So that changes the results around a little bit. There's kind of a tie between Pandora and Google. So I look at this as a quick way to brainstorm and then quantify after that. I've done this with your favorite pizza topping. I've done it with favorite sports teams. Again, I've done it with what question should be on Friday's quiz, that kind of thing. And when you have a class of 20, 30 some kids, that could be a really big list, and then they can instantly tally them up that way. So I thought that was a quick way to do, a neat way to do categorizing like that. I'm going to finish that question. Takes us back to the main menu. And now we just covered all the on-the-fly modes. So any questions on that chunk of it so far, the on-the-fly, with no prep needed? Okay. We'll go now into a little more complex, which is the quiz mode. The advantages here being I can do multiple questions in a row. I can have them grade automatically, and the results will be recorded so I can look at the results afterwards. Yes?
So, the short answer on the voting sounds really great. If a wise guy types in something that we don't want them to do,
That'll come up on the screen. Yep, that's why you have to treat that with caution. There is a way to quickly hide all responses, though, if need be. I think the dots next to it was a way for line by line to hide something. So, but kids are quick, and it might take you a couple seconds to see that, so you have to keep that in mind. Although, maybe you would choose the option to have them say their name. Although, what's to stop Jimmy from saying he's Susie, in the class? And so, just something to keep in the back of your mind, I guess, especially if you have kids that might be a little mischievous. So going on to the quiz mode now. Disadvantages, as we know, must be prepared in advance. Not that it's a huge burden to do, but it just takes time before the class to make sure you have it all set. So I'm going to run with you guys now a teacher paced example, and we're going to do the digital citizenship quiz. Teacher paced digital citizenship. So here's how I go. I launch it, start a quiz. My digital citizenship, NYSCATE, that's the one I made in advance. I said I'm going to make it teacher paced. I want to see your names. I'm going to randomize, so if you look on each other's screens, you'll see that the order is actually different for the choices. And I don't want to disable student feedback. I want to give you guys feedback. So after you answer, you're going to get confirmation, I believe, if it's right or wrong, and a little bit of advice that I gave along with it too. So we start it, and now I pushed out to you. There it is, the first. Oh, it's going to ask you for your name as always. So let's put in names first. And then you'll be able to submit your answer on the first one. And keep in mind, there may be more than one right answer. If you were to touch multiple choices, in some cases, this case it's not, because I made only one of them being the right answer. But that can be tricky, because I've done questions before for students where I've made like 3 out of the 4 are all correct. But in order to get the question correct, you had to choose all 3. You couldn't just pick one of them or 2 of them. You have to do all of them. So I feel like that can trick the child a little bit, so I stay away from those. But if you need to do something like that, you could say, tap all the ones that are vegetables and have a list of 10 things, and then they could make sure they get all of them. So that could be a use case for that too. All right, so it looks like the majority has answered. My explanation here that you're going to see, which, yeah, it looks like it popped up, is a little bit of advice about what you should and shouldn't share. Some information is fine, but it'll help it locate you. So the big thing here is locating. So if you got this one correct, let's see how we did. Looks like 100%. So that's, everybody saw the same thing then. You saw the green box pop up at the end with the correct answer.
Is the explanation the same no matter what they chose?
That's correct. The explanation will be the same no matter what. So it's your way to give like a little feedback of like, you can't even say, good job, glad you got it right, because it might not be, but just a little reinforcement after the fact. All right, so you got the idea on the first one. Let's move on to the second one. This time we have, what should you do if you were being cyberbullied? And if you're able to look at your neighbor's screen, go ahead and do that, because you'll see the choices are randomized for each person. Now, I made sure I answered this one incorrectly, so I saw the red that shows you. It pops up with red if you got it wrong. Let's see how we did. So I'll reveal the explanation. And there we go. So, how did I do this one? I did, what should you do? These are all the things that you should do. I thought only one would show up as green, though. Oh, okay, yes. I'm looking at these instead of that. That's what it is. So, no, but see, these would normally be red. It must be the way that I built the question. I probably didn't put the checkbox where I needed to be. Because this one is green, it's correct. But then that should be red, and that should be red, and that should be red, I think. But we'll look at that. When we build our questions, we'll be able to take a look at how that goes. All right, next up is question 3. Looks like we're halfway there. All right, so we shall reveal. And here's how we did. Yeah, it's not sure, because it is showing me I got it wrong and it's doing it right on my mobile device, but normally you'd only have one green bar and the rest would be all red bars. So it is the one that majority has answered correctly. So at least we can visualize how everyone's responding, and then you can carry on that conversation with kids. If, oh, most people thought it was this, you can really clarify that right on the spot. So question number 4 coming out to you. Might have something to do with the fact that I turned feedback on, so you know upon answering if you're getting them right or wrong. That could be why. All right, majority is answered. We reveal. And the correct answer here is A. I guess that's how you're going to know, is you see that the A is green there and the rest are not that color. And we have a tie between the correct answer and D. And then most people thought forward it to IT staff for evaluation. If there was an IT person in here, they'd probably say, please don't do that, because we'd be flooded with emails. But basically the idea is simply delete it, because I think I put in an explanation. Right? Most likely it'll be resent if it's really important, if you're not sure. And then, is that our last question? It might be. Yeah, because if there's no next here, that is the last question. So we finished that. This time, let's email it. Whole class, send it as an Excel. If I want, I can get the individual student's response and the question-specific response. That's a breakdown by question or by submitter. But in this case, I'll just say the whole class Excel. And it sends it to my email address. So now later on in the day, on my planning period, that's where I would go and check my email, and I would see that a spreadsheet will be attached. And I can analyze the results after the fact that way. All right, so next up is, let's flip it now and do a student-paced example. You guys will be on your own. You'll progress through it as you are able to. I'm going to do the math quiz. So I made this one in advance. It is the math quiz. Now I get to choose here which way. I can't remember which way I wanted to do this here. You are able to monitor the results. I'll do the immediate feedback. So upon answering, you'll know if you got it right or wrong. I'm going to want your names. I'll randomize questions and randomize answers. That'll really randomize things. And disable student feedback. No, I want to give that to you guys there. So I'll start it. And now you can progress at your own pace through the questions. And what's nice is on the screen, the teacher can observe where everybody's at. Better than a Scantron. So I think the real power behind this is there's no handing out bubble sheets, whether they're the newer style with kids' names printed on them like we have with eDoctrine at our school, or the old-fashioned style that you use the number 2 pencil and you fill in, and then you got to go scan them in and all that. This way on the teacher's screen, right before the class ends, you get a snapshot to see where kids are at. Now I probably wouldn't be demonstrating this to the whole class out there because I don't want the kids out there in the audience to see how other kids are scoring. So I would turn off the projector and I would just be watching on my laptop screen to see how people are responding. That might even be something not just at the end of the class, but maybe I do this in the beginning of class and all the questions were based on last night's homework. So now I could see, oh, most people were struggling with the complementary angles question. That's where I'll dive in first, and I'll make sure I address that first with the class. So that could be used, I guess, either before or after the lesson as a quick way to get that information. So I can ask Heather out there. I see she's got 3 blanks there. Is there any Wi-Fi issues with Heather or anything like that? Okay, all right, yeah, because sometimes that'll happen, and then that's where you can, as the teacher, then politely kind of tap on the kid's shoulder and say, hey, I noticed you weren't answering. Is there something going on there? So that's another reason why you wouldn't have this necessarily demonstrated to the whole class in a live shot. So now I will hit finish, and we'll do the usual routine here of how do you want your results, or you can view them later, and then you can choose some individual responses there too. And they've really improved upon that. It used to be just spreadsheet, and that's all you could get. Now there's a lot more options there than there was in version 1.0. So when I did hit finish, say view later, submit, and it goes back to our main screen. All right, so any questions or ideas or concerns so far worth mentioning? Yes?
How do you get your room number to change? Like when I originally went in, it's a number, and no matter how many times I type in the room number, it will accept it, but then it doesn't. Oh, you have to go to
You can only do it under your teacher account, right? That's what you did?
You have to go in the menu when it's in, I just did it. In the
upper right-hand side here, right?
profile part? Yep. Yes. And then it should go from there. It does, but it always kicks me back to the original number. I log out.
Oh.
Log back in.
I wonder if it's taken already, if that's just what it does?
I tried that.
Uh-huh.
It's a taken name.
Yeah.
It'll just say you taken that name. It tells me on my screen to save it again. But it doesn't.
Well, I know that room names were not a feature in version 2.0. That was something in version 1.0, and they just added it in maybe not more than a month or 2 ago. So if it's still buggy and not working right, I would say, let me get you the address for it here. I'm not sure if you can delete an account, but under help, I think they have a general contact us.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and then, yeah, this way you just fill out that form. They'll get back to you within a day. They're pretty good. They have people monitoring that kind of stuff all the time. All right, so we are back to my outline. We did our student-paced math. Let's do now the exit ticket example. All right, exit tickets. How many people have done a paper-based exit ticket in their classrooms? All right, I've done those too. This is now your digital version of that, so you're not collecting paperwork and having to decipher kids' handwriting, so maybe a little slight advantage to that. It's basically a pre-made quiz that has, I think, 4 questions in it, but they made it as a shortcut right on the screen, so you could just tap onto that, and now you have 3 questions that are going to be asked. So go ahead and respond. It's going to say something about what's the question on the board. My question that I'm going to say to you guys is, I put it in here, what's impressed you the most so far in this workshop? So what thing has impressed you so much from what you've learned today in this workshop? It's going to ask you for your name first. Did it do that? And then it'll ask you a series of questions after that. So the teacher's question is, what has impressed you the most? Normally I'd have that up on the whiteboard for kids. All right, so we just about have everybody in. And now I'll show you how we digest the information that's up there. So in our exit ticket, we can click on any of these blocks to get more information. So at a glance, I can see percentage-wise where everybody felt that they fell. The percent, though, is not real accurate because we're not asking a lot of questions here, so that's kind of why. But if I wanted to see question 2 now, what did you learn in today's class? Here's a nice way to see all 7 results. I can say show answers, and these are the things that people have responded with. All right, so what they learned in class. And then in the middle here, back to results table. Now I want to see how people responded to this one. So please answer the teacher's question about what impressed you the most. We show our answers, and we have all people's responses there. So that gives you a nice way to analyze your results without having to get any email attachments, without having to print or download anything. You can just see it all on the screen for just quick formative assessment. And the results table is nice because as a teacher, you're watching that as kids are answering. I never leave more than maybe 3 minutes at the end of a period to do this. It really becomes a quick thing you can do. And I haven't really been as strict about typing things, capital, punctuation, that kind of stuff. I should be more because I want kids to capitalize sentences and use correct punctuation, but for me it's just been a way to get their thoughts out of their head before they walk out the door. So you can, I guess, treat that one either way that you'd like. And so let's review it later, and that finishes off that. So shall we take a break? Are we midway through? All right, let's take a little 5-minute break. Bathrooms, if you need them, are right around the corner here on the right. And when we come back, we will be looking at the space race example, which is kind of neat because that adds a little competitiveness to it as well. Okay. And make sure you do stay to the end so that you have a chance for the door prizes too. I've got a couple things we're going to give away there.
See, there's 6 of you.
There's a good chance, yeah, somebody's going to have it. Yep. Yep.
Our devices are safe. Oh, absolutely, yeah. We went to lunch and left everything.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous, but yeah.
Are you nervous?
Yes. I think it's, did I put it in the outline?
It's up there.
Yeah. Because I wanted to try it. That's a really fun one.
Yeah, that, I know. I've been looking it up because I couldn't remember where I saved it for myself.
Yeah.
So I looked at
It's fun. It's very easy. The quicker you answer, the more points you get.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was
I should spell differently though.
if we didn't have snow days this week, I was going to make one and do it in the class and then use it here too. Cool.
Because they couldn't get buses to that school. The bus driver couldn't get
Well,
on
that
that.
time it was small, but bus drivers and people like it. And the teachers are looking all over the place. So it's a snowball effect. No.
The only districts that were open were mine,
Yeah.
which is North Tonawanda, and Winter. Well, they had no snow. Lucky.
Is the 90 still closed?
No, well, it's open from the state line all the way to Rochester, so we can't get off at any Buffalo exit.
Okay.
So, the first one you can get off is Pembroke. So that's like the other side of,
It's good to know that.
yeah. You can get on at any one you want, but you can't get off. And honestly, the 90 was great for the whole way here.
Yeah.
So I get on at Lancaster, and it was perfect the whole way here. The troopers out the lower. I'm like, can't you go help people in Buffalo?
Honestly.
What do you need?
Grab the shovel.
Yeah, seriously. But I was laughing because I met Rob because we drove separately. But I'm like, I can't get to you. There's 12 cows and there's 2 pilots in front of them. The pilot is lifting into like the dump truck kind of the plow.
Right.
So who knows how long I have to tell you to a side street here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm worried about flooding now. That's what my next word is.
Good stuff, right?
Seriously. More coffee? Yeah.
I usually comes to put cream on pan in. I deliciousness into it. They eat my cold burger.
And you saw me to the ground.
What's that?
The two of you started eating your lunch.
I didn't eat. She ate, but I didn't eat because I was passing stuff out, which is actually fine. Well, it's a veggie burger, so it'll be okay. I was just enjoying how much it's changed since we were recording.
What? Socrative? Yeah, since, yeah, a lot has changed in the past 10, 11 months. Well, it was acquired by a big company, and
Well, right, because it was in the middle of
yeah,
changing over.
yeah. When I updated the outline, I had to do that. There's some stuff that said beta version and may or may not work, stuff like that, yeah. What did I do with that? Copy password.
On page 14.
I'm putting one together here. A Kahoot. So we can try it.
I wrote the video. I can't remember what it was. So I was doing it with my work email.
Well, where did you hear about it?
Huh?
Where did you hear about it?
The teacher I worked with in
Oh, really? Did they use it? Yeah.
it wasn't in the conference. But
Yeah.
I was just thinking I had no one.
All right, is everybody back? I think. You want to just pull the door, Elaine? So. All right, we're going back to the space race. Okay, where we're headed next, and by the way, you may have received this too. If you're not using it, you'll get a offline message like that. I think it's maybe 10 or 15 minutes of inactivity. So if it comes up, just hit OK, and then I believe you can refresh, and it'll come back again. Because we're going to do at least one more event here in Socrative, and I have another one I want to show you too, a competitive product that I just learned about not too long ago that I think is worthy of sharing as well. So we are right here in the space race example. Any science teachers in the room? No? All right, so this is about the periodic table. And it's going to be a little tricky.
Did you give us a reference table?
No, I wanted to pick something that would be kind of tricky. It's very specific information. So we will go with the periodic table quiz. Let me think how I was going to do this here. What was my purpose? I may have been wanting to do this a certain way. The space race example. Yeah, okay, so I did it the wrong way. We have to go back to the dashboard here. Space race is the bottom left one here. So I pick space race. And I'm going to pick one of my quizzes. In this case, it's going to be the periodic table. Number of teams. Well, we can do this a number of ways. I can have you guys on teams where you could be talking together like two people sharing a device. But since everybody in the room has one, we're going to have everybody using their devices. Let's say that there are 3 teams in the room. And I'm going to auto-assign the team colors. So you're going to be randomly assigned to a team in this room, like maybe the red team or the blue team or the green team. And so all of your results are cumulatively helping each other to make your spaceship fly farther ahead. So when you get an answer right, the spaceship flies farther. When you get it wrong, it just stays in place. It doesn't advance. It won't go backwards. It won't negate for anything, but that's how they did that. So the feedback. No, I want you guys to see feedback for it. So ready? Here we go. I hit start activity, and I think it starts like it usually does, yep, with your name. So put in a name in there to identify yourself, and that way I get to see the results afterwards too. That's the reason for that. And you will be presented with a color bar on the top. Looks like I'm part of the purple team. So across the top of your screen, I'll just hold my iPad so you can see it. You're going to have a color that's randomly been assigned to you. So every time you get a correct answer there, you're going to advance your spaceship. So the blue team is leading the way right now. So there is a little bit of speed built into it. The magenta team is catching up. Blue team's in the lead. The lime team is falling behind. No, and I do give the explanations in there that helps you understand what these things are. All right, and I've reached the end. And there we go. Magenta is the winning team. It looks like blue is coming in second. Although I don't really know. See, I don't like the fact I don't know where you guys are at out there. I don't know if you're still working or finished or not because it doesn't show me that. I can just see how many people are in the room. But it involves the teacher most likely watching the screen. Well, the kids will do it if teacher forgets, to see which one reaches the end first. So in this case, maybe all the magenta people win a sticker in class or something like that. Okay, that's maybe more elementary. My kids won't get excited by stickers. So that's a way to gamify it. It's also a way to work collaboratively. And the beauty of this is because you put your names in the beginning, when I hit finish and I view the chart, I'll be able to see that feedback of how everybody did in that familiar looking table where you can drill down by question or by respondent to see more specific information. I think no. I think at that point the race is over, but you're not going to be stopped out of answering. You'll still be able to keep answering.
So you couldn't say, you're done.
I don't remember seeing any ties in the past, so I'm guessing that no. Once one of them reaches, then that shuts that part of it off. But you can still respond.
Over here. How come we can show you the teams?
Yeah, that part it doesn't show you, so I can't see who was on the blue team that won. I can't really see. At least I don't think you can.
Wow, you're the only one who got 100. That's amazing.
Yes, I happen to have the answer key. Yes.
And
Yep.
cobalt. I bet that was really
Yeah, some of those were tricky, and I wanted to show too the putting enough pictures. I put some pictures in there and symbols so that you had the ability to do that. And so analyzing the results, we've been looking at that. That's really analyzing the results through that screen there. But if you need to come back to it, when you go to Manage Quizzes, you go to Reports. And Reports will take all the recent stuff first, or everything that you've ever done. These would be quizzes only, space races only, exit tickets only, short individual answers, and archived reports. I guess after you archive them, it'd be like going like this, hit archive, and now it's out of my recent activity. So it puts it kind of in a storage location there for you. And this, by the way, has been optimized for touch. This interface, I've been using a mouse and a keyboard on a traditional laptop. But if I was doing this as a teacher on my tablet, even on a small screen, it's formulated so your fingertips can actually touch each one of those things. That's why it's not a very pretty looking interface, but it's a functional one in case you're walking around using your iPad or even your phone to be the teacher running the show with that. Yes?
Sorry, I have a question about the space race.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I don't understand if you can't tell who's on what team. Like, how do you know who's on what team?
I think the teacher would be wandering around the room and looking at the top of the screens. I think that's
what
what
it
it
matters who's on what team because you're finding out what the responses were.
Right.
So I think
Well,
it's more important
you know what, we
who
should
the
do this.
involvement was
Because
than
I
who
had
the
it-
team was.
We should do this because I auto-assigned it.
How they did the, like, the feedback for each team, like,
You're not going to know feedback for the team. You're going to know feedback for the individual.
It's just the whole point of it is to have the motivation for the students to continue to go fast and get, the old version of around the world. Like, let's do fast, quickly to see if you have the answers.
but they won't know though how their team is doing. I mean, wouldn't they want to watch their color?
Well,
It
let
has
me
to be on the board. Like
let me
you
do
said,
this.
We saw who was progressing through.
And how do they know what team?
From up at the top of your screen.
Okay, that I use.
I'm going to do this part now. I'm running it again, but this time around it's not going to auto-assign. So after you put your name in, I believe it's going to ask you, let me verify it here, what color you should be. There you go. There's a drop-down box. Yeah. So in that drop-down box, this would be you, the teacher, walking around and saying, you're on blue, you're on green, you're on yellow, and you would tell the student their color first. And then they would do the drop-down and choose the appropriate one. So we don't have to run this one. I just wanted to show you that. So since I did not auto-assign colors, this way now I can manually tell people in class what color they are. And that means the other kids in the room are going to know who they're working with. So it depends. It comes down to that. Do you want the kids to know who's on their team or not? Because if they do know, they might be saying, "Hey, Johnny, hurry up! Come on, you're getting the answers wrong," and that might add more commotion to the event.
I didn't see where you could even see what team you were.
Yeah, for that.
On the blue team because when it's blue, the header doesn't change.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I was on the blue team.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I just picked magenta, and it was very clear what color team I was on. But the blue didn't change.
There you go. See, I brought mine up here. My iPad. See how mine's purple at the top there? That shows, or magenta rather. That's how you would know is by the color of that. If it auto-assigns it, will say that. If you're not choosing what color. All right. So let's do this now. We can end that one since we got the idea of the space race. View later, submit. Back to the main menu. All right. Where am I next here? Analyzing results. So we covered that. Any questions around that whole concept of analyzing your results? Anything not clear on that? You can do it on the screen. You can also download an attachment, a spreadsheet. And when you have that spreadsheet, you can sort columns if need be. So if there's certain questions that you want to exclude, you can delete those columns. And I've done that before too, where sometimes I realized it wasn't a good question, so I took it out of the results. Most of the time I don't grade the stuff that I'm doing with Socrative, but sometimes I do. And when I do that, I want to make sure that the questions are all valid. So it's nice to be able to manipulate stuff on the spreadsheet. All right, so next up we are demonstrating the steps to create the quiz. So let me go back into here. and we go to Manage Quizzes and Create Quiz. First we give it a name. I'll call this my sample 54321. It automatically gives it a shared number right off the bat, so you don't have to do anything with that. It gives it there. Tagging is good because now people can search by tag, by Common Core tags. So if there was a certain keyword that you wanted to put in here, you could. You can also look at the standards as listed there. And the reason why that exists is this company was purchased by Mastery Connect, which is all about the Common Core standards and that kind of stuff. So that's why they're trying to have people tag their overall quiz, and then I think each individual question you can tag as well. So in a sense, you're building a master database of individual questions that you can then use from other teachers. And I bet you that I haven't seen where that comes out, but I bet you that's going to be a paid feature. Probably if you pay to use Socrative, like Socrative Premium or something, then you'll have access to other teachers' questions. Because right now I can't get access to other teachers' questions. That must be something that's in the works from what I'm guessing. So let's show you the 3 question types. Multiple choice would be like the following, and you do have some formatting options there. So I'll say, what is the best place to go to a conference? And if I want to make this with a correct or incorrect answer, I'll do this. Am I spelling it right? I'll say that's correct. And I won't check the box. And then let's say, let's look at another bad place I'm thinking here. Did I spell it right? And now I don't want question 4, so I go click in the box and I have to hit delete. Because if you don't do that, I believe it's going to leave it as a blank question, right? Maybe not. Maybe they fixed it where you can leave them blank and they don't show up. We'll verify that. That's, you don't really have to hit that button. You just click right on the words. Notice I can make more than one correct if need be. So you got to treat that one carefully. If you only want that to be the correct one, we'll leave it there. This is where the optional explanations can go into place. That's what people see after they respond. And then if you want to add an image, you can do that. Now I am going to add an image here just to show you how simple that is. Hawaii. I need a picture of Hawaii. So I'll do a Google image search, go to images. I don't know what's going to show up, so I better be careful. Let's just take this one here. It looks kind of nice. I'll say view image. It's a very big image now. It's a wallpaper size. So I'm going to right click it, save image as, and I'm going to save this to my desktop and save it as Hawaii picture. Alright, so we're good there. Now let's go back, add image, grab it from the desktop, it uploads it, and it will convert it down so that it's a reasonable size. And it'll actually have the students will be able to zoom in on it too if they want when they're looking at it. And now that question is done. So now let's do another one, true, false. That's correct, yeah. You'll see that one. We're going to run this one after we do this here. So true falses are pretty simple. Let's say it is warm outside today. So my correct answer there is false. I'll make sure I choose that. And I'm not going to bother adding the image. You guys know how, since you saw that last one. And then let's do a short answer. And we'll say, what state are we in? Now this is where correct answers are optional. If you put in a correct answer, it will grade it automatically. If you don't, it will not grade it automatically. That's the deciding factor here. So because I want to say NY, I think I separate by comma. Because I need the space between that. I'm going to leave it like that. We'll see if that works. And then I'm all done. So I just click off of that box. And now we can take this quiz. So save and exit. Go back to the dashboard. Let's start a quiz. Take our sample. Let's make it teacher paste. And I didn't do any feedback, but that doesn't really matter. So then we go to start. Alright, so if you're seeing it like I am here, I'll go to my student ones on the side here. It'll prompt you always for that name first to identify it for the results later. Alright, and you get to respond. And it should give you that feedback right on the spot. How come mine jumped right to just the first question? Oh, I'm teacher mode. That's right. Teacher mode. All right, so 5 out of 7. I forgot. I thought I did it. So 5 out of 7. And let's reveal how we did. All right, most people got there. And see, now it's doing it the way I was expecting. See how North Pole turned red? Any of the wrong answers return red, the correct answers return green. So I wonder if that was just a bug in that. I've actually made copies of my quizzes over the years, so maybe that's why it was an old quiz and a little bit buggy. So now we're seeing it the right way. So now let's push on to the next question, and we get to see the true-false. A common thing kids will forget is to hit submit answer. They'll just hit true false and expect it to be done. So you might have to remind them if you're seeing the number not creeping up that they do have to hit submit. And we visualize our results, have a conversation around it if need be, and move on to the third and final question. This one now involves open-ended.
Like this one goes purple because there's no even one.
You're right, that's right. So what I did, I answered wrong just to show how this goes. So we got the names showing, we got the answers showing. And so if you marked it with the space, you probably got it right. See, on this screen it doesn't really show. Yeah, it doesn't show it there. But on your screen it either would have come up. Was everybody's purple, the feedback? Okay, so maybe it's not going to show right or wrong there.
We put Mexico, we put purple.
Okay. So then that means that only on the final results the teacher looks at is it going to reveal that. All right, cool. So that is the process of building a quiz from scratch. And as you remember before, you can share those out because you have on my quizzes, you have the SOC number. And if I come back to it here, notice I can duplicate it myself in case I want to make another copy, delete it completely, download it. I'm not sure what format it downloads in though. Maybe as a, let's see, we're going to find out. Oh, it's a PDF. Okay, not bad. So I guess that would be helpful if you needed to print out a copy for some reason. Oh, it's very nice. I don't remember it looking like that before, so that is nice.
When I get both my quizzes
Mhm.
on Friday, I only have 3 quizzes, so I'll literally only take the quiz and then I'll print out a PDF page for it.
Okay.
And I'll show them which questions I got right and wrong, and then we'll just based on that.
Oh, very good. With Socrative?
Yep.
Is it? Oh, okay, cool.
So then we get feedback back
Um, to, yeah, so I send it straight to my Google Drive, so I have to remember now the spreadsheet that I got, and then I'll look at it again, and then download it, use a download button. Download it straight to your computer, and then once you open the file, you'll have it on the app, and you can use those tools to do that.
Very cool.
I have a quick question.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you don't have one-to-one iPads or devices in your classroom, could you have like a group of 5 kids take it, and then if it's like the student pays, have them close it out and have the next group of kids go through and take it? Could you do that?
The teacher would have to reset it on their side of things,
They will.
I think. Or can you do, maybe you can do log
Leave it
out,
open?
but it's going to know that that device already took the quiz.
Okay. I didn't know if they re-logged in and then re-put the student's name in as a different name.
I don't know if you'll be able to, unless it is, that could be one of the options here. That's why there's 2 student options. Let's explore that here. If we go to start a quiz, and we pick one, and we have the difference between these 2. Once they've completed, they submit the entire thing. This one is,
Well, about you ending the quiz, you can keep the quiz open.
right, I wouldn't end it. Right.
Yeah.
So you can just keep it open, right?
And just
Yeah.
have people open your tab each time because it's on the quiz.
I think you might be able to, because if I'm not mistaken, at the end of one of these options it says close and let another take, or let another student take, or let another student submit,
Yeah.
something like that.
When
thought
you
I remember
go to
seeing that.
conference,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would explore with one of those 2 options there. Definitely not the teacher-based one, but yeah, one of those 2 options. Because there's some teachers that leave their quiz going for like 3 or 4 days in a row, and kids can practice multiple times.
Okay.
And I've done that before. I've told my kids, if it's your second time putting it, put a John Smith 2, and John Smith 3, and John Smith 4. Keep putting in your name, but put a number at the end of that. This was going back about 3 years ago when I was doing that. And I would literally leave it running for a full week before the big quiz at the end of the week. And I would be able to see, based on the history there, how many times people are taking it and what they're getting each time they take it. So if it existed then in version 1.0, it probably is in here somewhere, just buried within one of those 2 options there. You're welcome. So we're looking now at advanced features. We talked about customizing your room name. We saw that under the profile. Clearing the room I mentioned earlier is so that period 1 kids leave. You hit one button, clears the room. It basically pushes everybody out of the room. So if they're using the same devices, like in my case they are, the next group is forced to log in as themselves. That prevents a student from getting results that they didn't actually take. So clearing the room is just something you remember to do at the end of the class period. And then we talked about sharing quizzes with the SOC codes. So now let's go to the closing quiz, and I think we'll have time. We're going to explore another competitive option called Kahoot, which is kind of fun. I like that one because it's very gamified. We'll do the closing quiz now. This is my way of getting feedback from you guys of the workshop so far. So I will go to Start Quiz. I need to go to All. Closing Quiz, NYSCATE. It's that one. I'll make this one, we'll do it Student Navigation. So we'll give you the ability to jump forwards and backwards. We haven't done this one yet. I want your names in there. I don't care about randomizing, so we'll go to Start. All right, you guys may go for it. A little bit of feedback for us.
Make the answers different sizes, basically.
Answers different sizes. No, what do you mean? The text?
Yeah.
Nope. And it looks like at the end you'll get a message, are you sure you're finished? That way, in case you hit the wrong button, you don't end it. Because once it's out, it's out. My room number, or room name, which is Rob Z. Question 3, huh?
I just had to go back.
Okay. Yeah, if you noticed on the left-hand side, there was some tabs there. That's for navigation in this case, so kids could jump forwards and backwards as they go. So now if we wanted to jump in and see, question 1 was about your thoughts with Socrative. And that's kind of weird, 11 out of 18. That might mean that...
Because I tried it 3 times.
Okay, that's fine, okay.
I tried it's fine. I tried to do a finish quiz, then you can just enter your
All right, so there's everybody chose option 1. 2 was, have you used any other similar tools? Let's see if anybody used anything similar. The Promethean, the light up buttons, poll everywhere. Yeah, see when a new one comes in, it instantly hides them for whatever reason. Kahoot I put in, we're going to look at that one, and then the Promethean. Okay, cool. So now we go back to results table. Question 3, what was the best part of the presentation? Show all that. And it's nice because you can kind of scan through it and get a gist of how everyone felt on it. It's a quick way to get
I agree
some
with John.
feedback.
The small size of this group has been nice. So
Yeah, that's not always the
close.
case. Yeah. And then what else could we have included? Other things in addition. Some printouts. I like candy up there, yep. Nap time, yeah. All right, very cool. And see, if you didn't want to see, if you want to do this, because you didn't want to have the students' names show up, you could say, oh, let's look at the results and not the names. Or vice versa, show me the names and not, that way I could tell who has and hasn't responded. So it's kind of nice to break it down into hiding and showing those 2 different categories there. When you're done, you hit finish. We'll view the results later, and you're back to the main menu there. Usually with tools like this, especially when they get acquired by a big company, they stay free, but they add in lots of bells and whistles. And if you pay for usually a monthly cost or an annual cost, you'll get those bells and whistles.
In January, because in January we were doing this exact
This was in beta. Yeah.
This was in beta then.
Yeah.
And they didn't move it to paid. So we thought then that they might do some upgrades that you had to pay for. But so far,
At this point, there's nothing paid
11
there.
months.
But I think they're working on what that's going to be. Just like how I use Edmodo, and I've been using that since probably 2008, and they've figured out a monetizing strategy is to sell apps within there. So people can use it for free, but if you want to get the full features, you buy individual apps. just Videolicious, which is a app we talked about in our last session, that is a monthly subscription. And then some other ones are an annual year that your whole school building buys into, and all teachers have it for a year. So these companies come up with different ways to monetize, but I feel like this one's going to be very closely tied into testing and Common Core standards because they kind of want you to tag your quizzes so that they can build a big database of teacher-submitted stuff. All right, so we're going to explore Kahoot. What do we got for time here? We're good? Yeah, we still got time. Okay, so Kahoot. It's a very weird name, but it is a gamification system. During our break here, I made a 3-question quiz, and we're going to play this quiz now. So let's see. This is the first time I'm doing this in a workshop. So to get everybody into it, let me think here. Yeah, but what is it though? Is it Kahoot.it?
Yeah.
Kahoot.it. So try in your browser, go to Kahoot.it. And see, I got to pick my options here. Display game control, yes. So minimize, none. Answers. Okay, so on my end, I launch it, right? So ready to join.
So you just go with the pen.
All right, pin number is at the top. Yeah, this is the lobby music. You can even have a YouTube video be playing in the lobby while you're waiting. This is completely web-based. They don't even have any apps made for it. There is? Oh, okay. Maybe they added that, yeah. I'm going to go in here too. Do this. I'm going to make it small so I can fit both on the screen here. But why is it not showing it? There we go. Okay, I want Safari. And it's Kahoot.it. I did, yes. And yeah, normally the answer to that is Chrome. All right, look at there it goes. So the names are coming in. So my screen is loading. Seven players. It looks like, so I like the fact that it shows your names right off the bat, so you can kind of look around the room and make sure everybody's in. Yes, on the left side, that's what would be full screen up on the projector, so that the whole class is looking at this screen here. And actually, there's a little psychological thing behind this. On your device, you're only going to be presented with A, B, C, and D. You're not going to be presented with choices or questions on there. Because the company says, based on what I read, they want everyone in the room not to have their faces down on their device, but to have it all up towards the front, where usually the presenter is. So the only time you're looking down is to choose A, B, C, or D. But you're not going to look there to read the question or the choices. Kind of a psychological thing to make sure everybody's heads are up and they're not looking down at a screen. So, 7, 2, 8, 8. Okay, and that drops my name in there somewhere too.
You see how the teacher can pick players out?
I didn't put my name in though. Oh, is it going to ask me for my name next? Okay. Yeah, and the teachers can kick out by clicking on the names, I think. Yeah, click on their nickname. So, no, I didn't click on it though. I was just hovering. I didn't click. Yeah, mine is taking a while to go. We'll just start without me participating here, because it's taking a while. All right, so start now. And I base these questions. Oh, this is time-based too. So you want to be fast on your answers. Question 1. Answers are coming in. See, so everybody got the questions on top. And I didn't have to do anything. It stopped on its own because everybody in the room answered. And yeah, and that's why I'm not even gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what though? Maybe I can jump in because it does let you jump in progress. So I jumped in on it too. Okay, so it looks like there we go. Our answer 3/4. Most people got it right, and now I think Is it going to reveal the scoreboard? Yeah, this is the scoreboard. You get more points the quicker you answer. So it's time-based. And so does it show? Usually it jumps in and
It
shows.
says like I'm trying to say that in German.
Okay. So here's your next question. And it tells you all waiting for the others. So there we go. There's 9 people in the room now. So that is the answer there. Most people got it right. Oh yeah, and everybody's seen that on your screens? It's saying what position you're in. I'm in 9th place. It says how many. Yep. So if you were using your real names, it's kind of like interesting because kids are going to be very competitive in that way and say, you know, how many points they need until they bypass somebody else. So there's our current scoreboard. All right, and here's our third and final question I did. That was a quick one, yeah. There you go. So there's our answer. And you can have multiple ones being correct because in this case I did. 50% was correct, and that was also correct. So you got it right if you picked either or, but not both, just one or the other. So next, there's our scoreboard. And what happens at the end? And the winner is, you get the name, you get their points, their overall score, feedback and results. Now this is interesting. I think you're going to, yeah, on your screen you're going to get some temperature check. Did you learn something? Yes or no? Thumbs up or thumbs down. And how fun was it? So star. And if you recommend that quiz to somebody else. And at the bottom, color-coded, continue, how so you feel. So smiley faces. So far, 9 out of 9. There you go. So on the fun scale, is that a scale of 5? I guess so, right? Scale of 1 to 5. That's what we average out. Most people thought it was learning. Many would recommend it. Most people are feeling in the middle. And so final results. There's our final scoreboard, and there's the ability to download, play again, play a different one. And there's some pre-made ones from the community. I think I made this one a public one, so anybody could search my keywords and play that one. But you can make them private if need be. And so that's how Kahoot works. So I think that's pretty neat. My way of making it, just to show you that, was I'm going to make a new one. Where does it say make a new one? My Kahoot's up here. Created by me, right? But I want to make a new one. Wait for the chair. More. Oh, there it is. Purple. New Kahoot. And I'm not sure what the difference is between the 3. I did a quiz format, but there are other discussion and survey ones. I think so. Yeah, I think it's based on the point scale so that there's that competitiveness to it. But this one has only been out for, it's actually still in beta, so it's only about last summer, I think, was the first time I heard about it. So it's kind of one of those emerging ones. And there are others now coming on the scene that take the concept of poll everywhere and Socrative and find its own little niche along with it. So something worth mentioning. I know it's a competitive product to it, but it's pretty neat how it has a different flavor to it. All right, so I think we are ready for door prizes. Are we good? 3:40. Let's just cover maybe any questions first. Is there any questions, ideas, or suggestions from what you've been seeing today? Yes. At one, I got to double check that. Let's see. Let's create a quiz. Test 3, 2, 1. I'll probably use that already. Add a multiple choice. Alright, so this is the question. Answer choice. I'm thinking if, I was hoping there'd be a box there to put it in. I guess not. You can do subscript for the math people out there that might need bold, italics, underline, but not a picture in the answer choices. No, that's to edit the question itself. And answer choices, it looks like you can't. I wonder if that would work. Let's try it. I guess the size is not going to matter so much. New image. Maybe it will though. That's a huge picture. I shouldn't do that. Let's find something that's not so big. In fact, this is how we find smaller images. We go to More. No, where is it? It's under here somewhere. More Tools. Show Sizes. I want to see a medium size. Let's go with that one. So now here's the image itself. Are you thinking right-click and copy the image? And we go to here and right-click and paste. That's not even an option. Let me do Control Command B. No, I can't do that. I could get the. This won't really help though. If I grab that, copy that, and then you just have a link. But I don't think it's going to auto-format that. Yeah, it's not going to. It's just going to leave it at that. For no, yeah, that's not going to hyperlink back to it. So I guess not for answer choices. And if I always share my recordings with Ben. So if Ben, if you're watching, I'm pointing at the screen here, that is a user request that might be kind of cool if you guys can add that, is putting in images in the answer choices, just like you can do for the question. Where did I put it? Oh, I put it at the bottom. That's why. Add images at the bottom, but that goes in for just the question. Okay, so I guess the answer is no to that one, but that is a good suggestion though. Any other feature requests or anything like that? Because we do have a direct link to the programmers here. They've been very good to us watching our feature requests and considering stuff and giving us feedback. Anything else you can think
I think
of?
our last conference, we sent an email during the conference, and the guy responded within the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I showed it to the
Wow,
people.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they put your students in and
No, it's not meant to be that way because there's no building of students. Although that a lot of the other competitive sites have that feature, and that's usually a paid feature. So that could be again one of those premium bells and whistles that they add, is the ability to give a kid an account. That way, when they log in, you're more sure that it is that person, and they didn't put in Minnie Mouse because they logged in with their name that only works if it's username and password correct. I would like to see the integration with Google Apps accounts, so you could log in with your Google account, because a lot of kids now at schools have Google accounts, and they're doing that across many different platforms too. So that's one less password to have to remember that way. Any other questions, concerns, ideas, any feedback? All right, are you guys ready for prizes then?